Welcome all. This is Malik from Kindle, ex-IBM employee and CTO of Apollo Hospitals in the past. So I welcome all of you for National Healthcare Conference 2021. So next few minutes, I'll be sharing my best practices, one as a technology architect as well as researcher and also a parent of an autistic child who had been experienced real life experiential sharings and started working on some innovations and also sharing as a medical practitioner, a child intervention specialist. So looking at the whole summary, I'm not giving much about the introduction, but looking at the whole journey, what I have took, it is almost 25 years I have been connected with healthcare and IT industry, which makes me more confident to be a mentor for many of the students or even co-practitioners who are in the industry. So myself being an academic ambassador from the R Nation which I'm representing, Kindle. So let me give you a little bit more about the Kindle company. So this is a spin-off from IBM, which started just September 2021 this year with 90,000 employees and 4,000 plus clients. The first startup in the world with the largest clients and number of employees. And this is focusing on most advanced technologies, primarily class 4.0 industry technologies. We'll talk a little bit more about technology that we are going to share in this entire session. So coming to the agenda, I'll be spending time on three areas. One is about lean health study that is pertaining to neurodiversity, early intervention, autism, Down syndrome, dyslexia, and ADHD. So as I mentioned, if you look at my profile, you will see either a doctor or an engineer. Being a specimen, I achieved both. So being a practitioner of IT architect for more than 2 decades and also from my kids' learnings as a parent of a neurodiversity autistic child, I myself converted into a healthcare domain expert by doing my master's in healthcare from BITS Pilani, CMC Vellore and Mumbai Hospital. It's a giant program. And in fact, there's a first program in India which specialized on hospital and health systems and also completing my post graduation in early intervention. This is another specialization which talks about case management, especially those who are pursuing academics and focusing on neurodiversity. I'll give a little bit insights how you can put your career. So now looking at the second point, it gives you a glimpse on global university programs, micro credential courses for healthcare fraternity. Especially this is applicable to all students, doctors, pharmacists, nurses, and even faculty. So these are short-term micro-credential courses which are launched just this September globally and same for even India. And then we'll talk a little bit about new technology innovations from the industry, which I have been practicing or even using it as a parent or even studying to bring best out of these solutions. Especially when I'm talking about here, I'm wearing cap of three areas. One, a technical architect who have been designing solutions for healthcare last 20 plus years. And second is about academic ambassador who has been mentor working with various universities representing my old company IBM and the current company even Kindle. And third is about completely a child development intervention specialist, being a part of you like working with children in transforming from them dependent to independent. But primarily, as I mentioned, my whole focus would be towards neurodiversity pertaining to autism, Down syndrome, dyslexia, and ADHD. So these are the three areas which I'll try to focus on. So if you look at in healthcare, there is a proverb, prevention is better than cure. But when it comes to my lean health study, because I said I have been doing independent research on these children, how do we transform them? So in case of neurodiversity, research indicates early intervention is half cure. We'll discuss in detail what is this means. I'll explain you the lean we have mappings which I have been value stream, which areas you need to focus on when you plan a kid who is diagnosed with any challenges. It could be neurodiversity or any developmental delays while transforming them, what are the areas that we need to focus on. But before going to the core topic, I'll spend few minutes giving you the technology journey. As I mentioned, being a technical architect, designing solutions and deploying globally. So we'll see the transformational shift, what is the current industry is focusing on. So if you look at the history, the stethoscope, which every doctor's utility, without stethoscope, there is no doctor. So this has been invented in 1816 by Dr. Reni from a French doctor who was diagnosing one woman or female when she expressed her heart problems. So why we are taking this as a reference is if you look at history, it's more than 100 years our healthcare domain has been transformed in using technology. So there is a perception whether technology will create any conflict of interest in medical practices. The answer is no. So technology is an utility which enhances the entire medical practices. So doctor remains the person who will be treating any illness. It could be chronic or long term or even any viral infections or epidemic situations. So patient and doctor relationship remains the same, but technology helps you to bring you more accuracy and then help you to see what best you can do in your area of complete treatment that you are going on. So now looking at the market forces, they are looking for new approaches. So they want to shift from local to national and global context. That means globalization is coming up. So e-record is playing more important, especially after COVID-19 or pandemic. So completely remote consulting, security of data, privacy of patient records, huge data storage happening almost every 45 days. The data of healthcare globally is getting double, which is the highest industry where data in duplication or multiplication is happening. So now changing demographics and lifestyles. So technology is helping most of the practitioners, irrespective of which lifestyle they follow or even any geography they belong to. Even cutting down the cost or even focusing on more emerging areas where you can do more research is another area. And third is about empowering consumers, expecting better value, quality, and outputs, and shortage of resources. This is a key. So, especially country like India, which is second largest population, we need to focus more on using workforce in a better optimization. So, when we talk about new technologies, AI is one thing which is completely changing the transformational shift. We'll discuss in detail and explain you the best outputs which you feel that you can start adapting. But at the end of the day, technology will help you out in terms of increasing your productivity, balancing your workforce, and increasing your efficiency. And now coming back to healthcare treatment, every day you keep on seeing new concepts coming up. So new players are coming up. When it comes to cancer, you talk about PET CT. When you come to cardiac packs, when it comes to health checkups, master health checkups. So when you have more number of patients coming in, not only from your appointment system, working on multiple departments within the hospital, you are expected to balance the satisfaction. At the end of the day, patient centric is the solution that you need to look at. So when we design any technical solution, patient remains the focus, whether it is a payer or a provider. That means hospital or an insurance person, because customer is nothing but the patient here. You need to have a proper satisfaction and make sure that you cut down the turnaround times or even the waiting period, and you use your ability, because as we mentioned already, we have a shortage of medical practitioners. How do you do controlling that? So use technology, you balance, minimize the waste wherever the process mappings when you do, or even one department to another department coordination, so that you don't see any surprises. But at the end of the day, whether a technologist speak or an architect speak or even doctor or even any facilitator should focus on patient centric, and this is specifically very much important to all the students, because we always talk about I am good or another doctor is good or different hospital is good, but at the end of the day, patient choose a doctor who support best service and which is a hospital patient centric. So I'm not talking about any technical areas. On screen you can see some of the points which we try to focus while designing in the systems building when it is talking about the large enterprise or sustainable solutions. So this is another area. So irrespective of domain, hospital also have operations. You have a leadership, finance team, or even doctors and patients coordination. At the end of the day, you need to make sure that you do proper coordination, and you need to reduce your turnaround times and also give the best cost optimization for the patient, because majority of the hospitals depend on the payer services, that is insurance claims. So unless you have a standardization in your offerings or even better coordination, but unfortunately there are some things which happened in the past. For example, I'll give a very simple example how technology made a simple shift in payer insurance. We had one client, I'm not taking the name of the client because of the confidentiality. So in fact, I started my career as a founding team of FHPL, the first TPA of Asia, which started coordinating with more than 4,000 hospitals in entire Asia, both international and national patients and hospitals, coordinating the claims processing. So as I mentioned, we have one client whose employees are around 10,000, and their dependents, four people in the family, are covered through insurance. So as a part of our insurance coverage, we print ID cards. I'm talking about early 2002 and 2003, where health insurance and the TPA concept introduced in the Indian market. So we printed 50,000 ID cards and we started distributing. We kept a counter in the entire company canteen, their entrance, security, workplace, every area. But at the end of the year, we realized we could able to distribute only 10% of their ID cards. So now second year renewal happened and we are expected to do print another 50,000 ID cards. But if someone like you is a solution architect, do you really feel that printing another 50,000 ID cards will really make you optimizing or cross-saying or a value add in the entire process? So what we did is 90 days of time, we took extra buffer from HR and we collected the entire database of the HR and we shooted out emails. That days even we didn't have mails. So it was MS Office mail merging and SMTP, which we sent mass mailing to all 10,000 employees. When we started realizing the responses, some people started calling from Germany saying that I'm in Germany, but my entire address is in India. So that company totally, because of the technology, data cleaning, they corrected their entire HR database. See, the problem identified there is each employee, whoever traveled from one location to other location, they have a local and global IDs. So the updation of content in their HR database did not happen. So now what we did is instead of printing again, we introduced the concept of e-card. So today everybody is using digital card or e-card, which started way back in 2002 and then even IRDA adopted it. So we took the HR database, the updated one. Whenever anybody wants ID card to be carried, they can browse online through their employee ID and they can print it up. Like that, there are a lot of things, technology, small enhancement in your service, it will help you to change the complete transformational shift. Similarly, even today when you walk into hospital like Apollo, you see master health checkup. So I was one of the team member who co-designed that entire master health checkup from cardiovascular disease management program. So CVDMP is the program which has been designed 15 to 18 years back, where the intent in that entire solution is monitor the patients of cardio surgical completed patients. So almost 52 weeks, each patient is monitored. So basically here when I said patients, people who were in inpatient completed their stenting or even any other cardiac surgeries, then they'll go back home and every week patient will go back and collect vitals of the patient, diagnose their current condition, do a quick counseling, and every quarterly patient will be invited for wellness programs. So like that, a group of patients has been studied, and later it is realized the people who are following wellness programs and close monitoring, the risk of reoccurrence or any other ailments is 40% better than people who are not following. So that means a wellness program for surgical people or any continuous monitoring of healthcare is very much essential. The same CVDMP with enhanced values, now it is operated as master health checkup. The same is applicable to any healthcare institution. When you start any new service, you need to think of how do you optimize your turnaround times, how many patients you can consider treating them or consulting them per day. So you can take example of CMC Vellore. So in fact, I did my internship over there. I could be able to see their walk-in patients every day is more than 8,000. So you can imagine the number of samplings for blood tests, how they are collecting and all. But yes, we do agree the personal touch and feel from a doctor is very much essential, but technology always helps you to minimize the turnaround time and eliminate waste or do repeated activities. So now looking at the screen, we are talking about industry 4.0 technologies. So look at the whole journey of last few decades. So as I mentioned, we started using stethoscope from 1816. So it's more than 100 years how the transformation happened. So initial days it was family, doctor comes and do face to face or do a medication, or a giant group of people will have a camp kind of thing. Then digital imaging and working on completely science related or art education, especially when you bring awareness, there is no digital technology that time, neither radio or anything. So people explain through artwork or paintings or even books so that people read. Later, your technology, radio or even telephonic or television came as a media. This is all early 70s and 80s. So we are talking about 30 years back or 40 years back. And then satellite communication came in. Then early 80s, PC came into picture and then started globalization. Slowly dot coms and internet come up. And then we talk about service sciences and social networking started early 2000. And now what is the future? So future for next a decade talks about Industry 4.0 technologies, which is nothing but primarily focus on six knowledge areas. That is CAMS, CAMSS and AI: cloud, analytics, mobile, social, security, and AI. But primarily, it talks about four key areas which are pertaining to healthcare. That is cognitive computing, cloud and AI, data science, and IoT. So IoT is basically, this will really help you when you work on remote areas or remote monitoring. Especially, this has been proven the best solution during isolation wards monitoring by doctor remote with AI integrated solution 24 bar 7 without contact method. So now whenever you go to any lab, so far we are talking about completely a contact method equipments. But now slowly the generation is getting changed. Micro sensors or even advanced technology, which is using advanced physics and AI integrated non-contact method solutions are coming up, like our thermal thermometer or even oximeter, or even now for ECG and EEG also now you are getting completely non-contact method devices. Even sometimes you see surprise portable devices are coming up. So 20 years back when I was designing solutions, I see two groups of doctors, and that always happen. Some senior doctors always feel to scribe on a prescription and give the medication. And some doctors who keep traveling overseas keep asking me, when are you introducing any new technology? We want to practice it and we want to give the benefit to the customer. So we need to balance as a solution architects, designing both veterans as well as new generation doctors. But now majority of the faculty and students are in current generation where technology playing more important, but focus is more on cloud, AI, and data science. So now slowly moving into our core agenda, my lean study, which talking about neurodiversity. And within neurodiversity, I'm focusing more on autism, one being a parent and independent researcher, and also child intervention specialist. So looking at global statistics, we have a data updated so far from 2014 and even 2019 some data has been updated, but as per CDC the historical data says 1 in 68 children in US is suffering with autism spectrum disorder. The latest coming up is close to 54, 1 in 54, and similarly 3.5 million Americans as per the historical data, and more than 200 million to billion dollars has been spent for the families and their well-being, and even 1% of adult population in UK is suffering with this disorder, and overall 1% of global population is suffering with this autism spectrum disorder. Why I'm highlighting this is today we are talking about advanced technology. We went and seen the class 4 technology or even talking about AI. But autism spectrum disorder, this is not a disease where you have a direct medicine to treat it, but is a lifetime disorder where you need to plan for some wellness activities where early intervention is proven as giving the better outputs in learning abilities. So, how do you diagnose these children? So, basically, those who are working with pediatric or neonatology or even gynecology, I always suggest them don't wait till 2 or 3 years post delivery or birth of a kid and then look at the milestones. Since the numbers are increasing, in fact, if you look at our even Indian percentage, we have 2011 census, we are 1.4% to 2% of population are coming under different disabilities, which is a high number with people with this many crores of population what we have. But still, we are talking about even early intervention, not talking about treatment or even wellness programs. So look at these opportunities, all the students who are currently working on based upon your post MBBS or even MD, start thinking about thinking specializations like psychology or even child intervention specialization or even any other therapy so that it will give you more benefits in diagnosing children, because India being the youth nation, those who are looking for opportunities or career growth, you always need to connect with youth or young generation related illness so that you can better diagnose and give the better value add for them. But overall, compared to other chronic illness like diabetic, cardiac, or cancer, neurodiversity issues are incrementing and multiplying higher times than other chronic illness, and the cases will be much longer and they will be continued for lifetime. In fact, you see autism behaviors are part of a spectrum by every human being, but only thing is we being a balanced people, we try to balance our emotional intelligence and cognitive ability, and then we communicate based upon your aggression, whether you're angry, happy, or feeling depressed. But these children, they are socially blind. I repeat this statement: socially blind means that means these children physically they are good, but they find difficulty in expressing their feelings, even though they understand. But there are some percentage of children who develop seizures, and there is a chance of 70% occurrence of seizures and epileptic cycles because of sleep disorders and other challenges among these children. But overall, the percentage of the sickness or illness from these disorders are increasing. I am talking about complete neurodiversity, autism, Down syndrome, dyslexia, and ADHD. So this is a slide which is completely my lean study findings. So this is a value stream mapping table. So when you look at a newborn kid, infant, toddler, and then adult agehood, overall there are different milestones which we always see that need to be properly focused on. So when you look at these children, especially even when a mother is pregnant, you always see there will be uh, response to few musical sounds or body movements or cyclings where mother can feel that experience that kid is growing better. That means when there is any happy or sad moment that happening in the family, the discussion, even the kid will feel those expressions. So especially mothers who are having more stress or even having genetical issues or even heredity, especially hormone imbalance, they need to be a little bit focused while looking at these areas. So once the kid is formed, we always know, like a medical practitioner, we look at birth cry. So if anyone feel that there is a variation or a delay in birth cry, please ensure that the parent is suggested to go for additional investigation or further study whether really kid having any sensory issues or growth challenges. Especially in neonatology, people who are born below 32 weeks, you need to suggest them, especially medical practice like pediatricians or even neonatology or general physicians. Please ensure that you try to investigate or even try to advise parents at the infant stage itself so that we don't see any surprise. As I mentioned, people who personally diagnose during early intervention, we see major transformation that is happening. And I personally coordinated or facilitated more than 300 kids from various age groups, various ethnics, and various countries, being a part of my study as a practicing independent researcher, working with NIMH, the new name NIEPD, Divangan, and then working with various NGOs and hospitals. So basically, early intervention it works with 80-20 rule. So if you spend time during infant age and toddler age and give proper diagnosis and then give suggestions to parents. Basically, when I say suggestions and intervention, you need to give proper education for these children about these disorders which are happening. There is a myth that happening MMR injection has an influence. Yes, that is something which is observed, but scientifically it is ruled out. But still, we need to balance MMR injection given at 18 months, and then parents realize at the age of 20 weeks they see these sudden changes happening. In fact, that also happened to my child as well. Similarly, booster vaccinations given. So these are things where when there is any family history, make sure that you do close monitoring and then suggest them so that you don't see any surprises or even parents of children come and do any other challenges creating during your diagnosis. So, as I mentioned, early intervention is giving you an opportunity with 80-20 rule, the risk of early time during toddler and infant, giving you the risk avoidance in future, and then giving you almost curing 40% people. 4 out of 10 children, which I personally involved or coordinated, had able to balance their life with the normal stream people without any complaints. I don't say that we cured completely autism, but as a part of the practice, we see they are close to the society without any challenges. They are able to follow normal academics. But when you diagnose parents, those who are below 5 years, always educate them that academic is not the primary criteria. It is the life skills and personal care, social and emotional intelligence and cognitive is the primary area. Because in case if any kid fail to go to a normal school, because most of the time the moment kid turns 2.5, 3 years, parents sends them to play school which is not the key, but they need to learn life skills, which is important, which you can focus after medical intervention is therapy services. So as we all know, we have five sense organs, and for some reason, the brain connected sense organ is weakened, but still using our therapy services, we can empower rest of the four sense organs from speech, special education focusing on personal, social, academic, and occupational area, and then psychology, behavior areas where you can improve cognitive ability, and also focusing on sensory integration. Basically, these neurodiversity children, they have, you see either two kinds, hypo or hyper, and sometimes combined more. That means 1 hour kid will be hyper, some 1 hour, another 1 hour would be hypo. So these are the areas, the sensory integration, because these children react differently based up the lighting, the clothes they wear, the diet they follow, the colors they see, the environment. But overall, looking at child development, genetical, heredity, and environmental. So the more challenges are faced, especially in this environment where the kids are grown, especially when you look at the overall global statistics, countries like Australia, US, Canada, and other cold climate countries, you see this autism coming up. So breath cycles and even forcing these children stay at home in apartment culture, being alone, they start building behaviors like self-laughing, self-crying, or making babbling sound, echoing. So all these things they do repeating because they are sitting idle. Their idle time is more. That's where medical practitioners and therapists need to spend time with parents counseling so that every minute or an hour that kid is spending can be used in a better way in learning. And now, after this early intervention, medical advice, therapy services, second is fourth one is about technology and assistive devices because we cannot monitor kid or even engage kid 24 by 7, either a parent or even a therapist or even any medical practitioner. So set of tools will really help so that you collect vital data and you don't see surprises. And it has been practically observed majority of the kids having allergic to gluten and casein. In fact, it's not allergic, they have a resistance to this diet. So slight change in diet and following GFCF diet based upon the kid severity, high, severe, borderline, or moderate, based upon their level of assessment scores, following diet and giving proper nutrition, really helping them, transforming them from dependent to independent. And as I mentioned, all these five verticals and these value stream mapping areas are parallel tasks. It's not that you follow medicine and you stop therapies or you don't use technology or follow diet. This is very much important from newborn kid to adulthood, that is till 18 years. In even later stage also it is important because we practically know diabetic cannot be completely cured as per the historical data as we analyze. But people who are following proper medication and lifestyle and then proper diet, they don't see any risk in their lifespan. So same like diabetic or any other chronic illness, this autism or neurodiversity illness will be completely controlled, and then all these five value stream maps will be benefiting them. So if you look at the screen, this is just about to give you a guidance how each kid behaves. So the first image talks about every kid is unique and their curriculum changes every day, especially for this neurodiversity. You cannot go back and buy a book and like normal kid in academics, you teach them, but based on a kid mood, you need to change, and a therapist or even a family member or any caretaker has to change that engagement so that they don't feel bored. Especially autism children, they don't adapt new environments or even when you introduce any new things. And some people, when you go into crowd environment, they see more challenging. So they want to have a peace and clean environment. So there are various challenges that you see based on the kid mood. You need to change it. The second image is about my own kids. First one is my son who is autistic, and both the kids have 3 years wage difference. But when you look at whether it is a neurodiverse autism child or a normal kid, my daughter now she's doing 10th grade, but she repeated the same thing when she saw the photograph her brother. So that means whether it is a kid with learning challenges or a kid with normal milestones, it doesn't matter. It's only you need to change the environment, give them guidance so that they behave the same. Same time, advice to parents, being myself a parent, don't try to put pressure on children. Try to give them a freedom, what they want to be. Don't put your dreams and then pressure them. You become doctor or you become engineer or you become a lawyer. Give them the freedom. Also engage them with hobby activities. Kids out of school hobby activities. It could be drawing, skating, swimming, any kind of activity which they are. It doesn't mean that everybody has to do masters or post graduation or research. So everyone has equally having opportunity, especially now healthcare is highly more important along with other areas when we talk about the career prospects along with engineering. So this is another example which I personally experienced during my childhood days. I used to play with old cycle tire, tattoo and kite and playing on the sand with group of friends. That's where my social fine motors or social activities has been enhanced. But now getting into complete city culture and apartment culture, we are forcing these children and then creating all these lifetime disorders because of the forced environment or restricted environment, engaging them with only gadgets or any other, not having natural socialization. So always try to be a social human being so that you don't see any surprises. So a parent like me still drowning, looking for help in this neurodiversity areas, since we already concluded or still research is going on where there is no ready-made medicine or a surgery available to cure autism. Only you can control with various wellness programs. So sometimes I feel emotional as a parent when I talk to parents who are not having proper awareness. There are few people who, especially the elders, says that okay, his uncle, when a kid is having delayed milestone, they keep on talking about this uncle had a speech delay. Let's wait for 5 years. So don't do any such kind of perceptions. Always good go for doctor consultation and going for medical intervention and therapy services so that there won't be any lifetime risks. Follow 80-20 rule. Anything that you spend time in infant and toddler, that 80%, the risk can be reduced to a 20% in future. So now moving slowly into the second topic, micro credential courses. In fact, there are a lot of credential courses or even offerings that IBM and other companies like Kyndryl start looking for offering. But these courses are coming from GUP. GUP nothing but Global University Programs, which I am representing as an ambassador for last decade. So basically, what is this global university programs all about? Primarily, when you talk about any industry, especially IT industry, research and new technology introduction keeps on happening. And in fact, the life cycle of any new invention or new concept coming into the market is completely getting very less duration where any employee from either healthcare or even from other domains, they need to keep on upgrading their upskilling. So skill development is a continuous process. So this university relationship program, what it will do is it is connecting the research outcomes to academia so that the industry learning gap can be reduced. So the courses which you are seeing on the screen, these three are launched just a couple of weeks back in the month of September, and then completely it is available to all medical practitioners, doctors, nurses, pharmacists, and even faculty. So these are all free of cost, and you can go for it. Basically, when you go to website ibm.com/academic, you see few other courses. So institutes or even universities can collaborate with organizations like Kyndryl and IBM, and then you can sign an MOU and benefit even further benefits. Not only these three free courses, There are a lot of sort of courses which are related to this class 4 solutions where university institutions can request industry SMEs for conducting a workshop or a hackathon, or even you can engage with this entire team in designing your curriculum to the modern arena, so that you will have an industry collaborated curriculum whenever you are designing any new programs related to technology enhancement. But overall, these three are newly launched. That's why I'm trying to highlight here. There are short-term courses. And then what is the value add of this is you will complete this course, you will get a brainstorming of the complete latest summary of what this entire cloud computing related to healthcare, or even how data analytics and data science is aligned to complete healthcare, and even cloud and artificial intelligence. Don't think that technology will create a conflict of interest in finding the opportunities for doctors. In fact, it will help you to improve your efficiency. It will help you to reduce your turnaround time. It will help you to serve more people, since we already have a crunch. And when you have a data collected in a healthy format or structured format, you can do data modeling analysis and trying to do correlating what may happen, what if analysis, so that you can do some mimic simulations, so that the entire your innovative treatment procedures can be evaluated how it may behave in future. Basically, those who are practicing surgeons, the simulation programs are coming up. It's now available. You don't have enough end operation theaters, but using this artificial intelligence and augmented reality, you can go and clearly logically work an operation theater and do a surgery with models which are available, including complete end-to-end process of different surgeries has been facilitated with 3D and virtual reality and augmented reality. But we'll talk little bit more about augmented reality in the coming screens. But these digital badges, so basically there is no physical certificates now. The whole courses which you complete, you will get this kind of digital badges which are valid and recognized across the globe, and this will be available to you for lifetime. So these are all free of cost. There is no cost involved, and these are all self-paced. If any college or university is interested, they can connect with us, university relationships team, so that we can also facilitate a quick orientation session in case if a group of students or faculty is looking for any benefit from contact classes, either remotely or in person. But overall, try to keep on upgrading and connect with technology, and ensure that you try to focus more on cloud computing, data science, and artificial intelligence. These are the three class 4 industry technologies that are connecting with healthcare domain, and this will continue for another decade. And this I am telling you with personal experiential learning. As I mentioned, I personally experienced 25 years of my industry association. I have seen all generations, the starting with floppy drive to now talking about complete remote cloud data storage and high-end data intelligent storages. So make sure that you continue your upskilling and benefit of these courses, and connect with university relationship team, so that academicians or faculty or students can bring value add to their course that they are learning for. Third is about completely, we are talking about innovation technology. These are all things which, as I mentioned, either I personally used as a parent or an architect, which I involved, or even I have been collaborating with various IIT engineers across the country. All these things which we are talking about, these are all globally valid things which help, especially neurodiversity people, not only neurodiversity, any developmental delay people. These are all assistive devices which really helping and proven with most advanced technology. This is just giving you a quick example. There are many other tools, but these four which I am highlighting in next few minutes really help, and even I personally started using them. So first, more important, as we mentioned, especially autism and neurodiversity children, They cannot adapt to new environments. They cannot change their learning environments on a frequent basis. So in this case, this virtual reality, XR and AI based augmented assistive technology really helping them. For example, as we mentioned, I feel bad to say this statement. Autism children are like socially blind, but that's a fact. We have to live with it. So these people cannot mingle with the peer group or even in the society. That's the area this augmented reality really creates a simulation. By wearing this goggle, you will take the kid into a park, and when you make him experience real time one or two times, you can repeat the same scenarios with real feel and touch. He can see the sprinkling of water, peeling a leaf of a tree, or rolling on the grass, or walking on the grass in the park, or buying some ice cream or anything. So all these simulations, the way real time it happens, you can create this kind of environment, and same kind of solution even available for healthcare practitioners for complete surgical expertise, because to improve your fine accuracy in treating patients, you can experience different case studies where this entire augmented reality helps you sitting in remote place, working on simulations and creating new learning development activities so that you don't see any surprises. Especially augmented reality, it is not just only creating a virtual environment. What it will do is, while creating a solution, it will screen the current place where you are sitting. It could be your living room or a therapy clinic room where kid is learning on a daily basis. The same room will be completely screened through cameras, and new virtual objects will be created, like a cartoon coming up or a normal any pet coming up greeting an employee or even a person student who are learning. So these are all things which are completely created virtual, adapting to your local environment, which is creating a major transformation. So very major in your cognitive ability, thinking process, motor, social, self care, speech, language and vocational, sensory, entire life skill. So especially autism children have a difficulty in coordinating with their fine motors, brain and body motors. If they like it, they can lift 1 kg weight and then put it on the area where they want to put. But if you give a pencil, they will not have a control how much grip they need to give. That depends upon the person to person. Each kid behaves behavior differently, and all these kids need to be closely trained under skilled therapists or medical practitioners so that they learn better way, and creating these simulations really helping. And the second is about structure of intellect. In fact, this entire solution had more than 60 years history. So let me give you a small story. So during Second World War, this entire concept has been evolved. So US Army started hiring more number of people who are physically fit and started training. But when they went into battlefield, their success rate is only 40 to 50%. That means 50% people are not able to fit and complete their entire deliverables what they are trained for. Then group of psychologists has been consulted. How do we increase this efficiency to more than 90%? Then the group of psychologists said, you screen the people with different abilities and then train them. Then you see the success. That was proven during Second World War. And one of the psychology student was practicing child psychology, and then they start, why don't we adopt these kind of techniques in child development so that we can use this early screening and giving them cognitive training to the brain so that they start behaving using the cognitive skills in different activities that they're spending or performing in life skills. But overall, the technologies or concepts which I'm mentioning really proven, and this has been practicing in more than 25 countries, and even India it is available. And I personally seen 4 to 5 children among 10. There it has been helped in bringing their skills upgrade in life skills learning during therapy services. The third one is about cognitive technology, cognable. So this is completely built with machine learning and assistive technology for autism, where you do research, scientists and IIT engineers and pediatricians were involved in this solution designing, where you can do early screening and design the whole program. For example, currently, based upon the medical practitioner or the skill of a therapist, when you do consult, evaluate, then you design IEP. IEP is nothing but individual education program. That means, as I mentioned, every kid is different and their curriculum changes every day. And based upon kid behaviors, you need to design IEP. So this cognizable technology, which is AI built, helping after screening with milestones and other developmental challenges, you can design the program and you can track them. Even earlier case, the first example, virtual reality, now the technology enhanced in such a way that while you are doing simulations, your eye movements are closely monitored to remote sensors within that goggles, and then you are tracked how fast you are learning for first time, second time, after 1 week, whether it is really helping them. So that means therapists and psychologists or even case managers like me who are early intervention specialists correlating with different developmental challenges, able to track them with data driven. So that means whatever you are practicing during therapy through remote sensors, you are practicing them and you are seeing them completely, seen the growth day by day with close monitoring. Similarly, cognizable technology is helping in early intervention as well as designing the programs, what kind of therapy activities need to be done based upon the kid's severity. And this is also helping for remote students so that you can, who cannot go to therapy or a hospital or a wellness center, where you can directly practice at least at home. Parents can get trained and you can start using this kind of tools as a finger trip during home care. So this is another innovation technology which I personally practically use for my kid who is an autistic child who developed seizures during this uh, wave 1 and wave 2 pandemic, because he is forced to stay. We see epileptic cycles. I personally tested this device and this is helping early detection of seizures. In fact, I presented this topic in International Patient Safety Conference with more detail. But here I am not going into the technical glitch, but this is the first device in India and second in the world which is non-contact method, where you can do your EEG without contact to the close proximity of accuracy and do your even oximeter data. And this has been adopted by Indian government during pandemic, not only for seizures, COVID sensory words has been adopted by this device. In fact, the inventor of this device is a close friend of mine who had a similar experience like me. Now, when I'm talking about neurodiversity, I feel emotional. I connect with my whole heart, being a parent, than a technology researcher or a healthcare practitioner. But even the person who invented this device, he is an IIT engineer from Mumbai, and he has been working in Mercedes-Benz in US as a quality engineer. So imagine how best job he is working in. So one day when he was in a swimming pool swimming, a crocodile caught his hand and his left hand has got amputated. In fact, this was covered by BBC News and you can see in YouTube the real life story how he experienced. Almost 12 hours he was bleeding and lying unconscious, and then it's like a rebirth for him. Then he thought, why don't I do something new for the society and healthcare, which I personally experienced. Then he took the concepts of advanced physics and micro sensors, which are used in race cars, because he is working with race cars, Mercedes Benz. In fact, race cars, when they are participating in a competition, a whole data center will be monitoring each and every component. Suddenly, car stops, 40, 50 people come and change the tires, screws, everything. So that means every wear and tear, minute by minute, second by second, it is getting closed. that kind of sensors, vibration sensors has been engaged in this device, and it is giving you continuous monitoring. Basically, a cardiac patient or even a person who is going for EEG and ECG, you go with prior appointment in your clinic or even lab environment and you monitor for close to 1 hour to 2 hours. But this is something which continuously monitors you 24/7 in case if it is needed, and that is also non-contact method. And third is about this is portable. That means it is not that much high accuracy risk generated, but it is tested in NIMHANS Bangalore by researcher and research papers are published. It is giving close to 94.3% accuracy when they compared with traditional Tesla or any other high-end testing missions in a lab environment for the same patient. So what I'm trying to say here is use the assistive technologies which are cost effective, which you can use and which you can save lives, especially in any business. If you are talking about banking, if you fail to pay any loan, you just skip one EMI and you pay more interest or you lose some money. But in our healthcare, especially you are saving lives, you are referred as next to the god, or sometimes even doctor is referred as god. So please leverage that confidence of patients and families and every human being, giving the respect to our profession, and make use of these advanced technologies and ensure that the life is saved to the utmost. In fact, by default, every doctor's natural motto is to save life, but still when you use advanced technologies you can pay attention and you can go to micro detail analysis and you can give better advice based upon the data that you find in. Especially post pandemic, these kind of things are more essential because patients need remote consulting. So while coming to closure, cdcwc.com or CDC Child Development Clinic or Wellness Centers, these are key for any child development. As I mentioned, my study clearly indicated nutritional diet, medical advice and consulting, sleep monitoring, safety and sensory controls, wellness programs, therapy services, academic support, occupational therapy and mental health, sensory integration and seasonal care. All these are all part and parcel of your wellness program, starting from early intervention to medical advice, therapy services, using tools and technologies and proper diet. All has to balance from newborn kid to adulthood or even lifespan that would giving better results. As I mentioned, my personal study coordinated with 300 plus students given me an opportunity to see the developmental satisfactory 4 out of 10 children with these developmental delays which are lifetime disorders ranging from high severity to borderline or moderate kids. So as I mentioned, every student or a faculty or a medical practitioner start accepting these people as a part of the society. They all these children are part of the society by default. As a medical practitioner, we do respect these children because it is our profession, but do bring awareness in society. In fact, I myself, along with child development intervention specialist, along with my university relationship, I am also a global CSR volunteer where I have been keep on educating parents and even societies through various programs. In fact, I was fortunate enough to receive International CSR Award in the month of July, competing with various corporates for my efforts in this neurodiversity area. So with this, I conclude majority of topics which I try to focus on my agenda. And I thank you all the organizing team and the entire my organization company Kindrel for giving me this opportunity. So again, I am not spending much time about Kindrel company. This is a new startup company, just 1 month old, with 90,000 employees and 4,000 clients. And there are set of slides. I'll just navigate them to give you a quick glance what this new company, which will be the world's best and largest and successful company in the world now, being the largest and focusing on most modern technologies. Kindle in next coming years, you see this will be competing and facilitating all the industries, whether it could be healthcare, academic, manufacturing, or even any other research. This company will show the value add what it carried with 100 plus years of success from IBM through spin-off. And the people like me, we are 90,000 employees just on a day one, bringing the expertise from various domains and skills what we learned through experiential learning. All these things you will see in coming years. Kindle will be competing and helping all the industries. As I mentioned, I'll just go through these slides so that you'll get some fair idea. You can visit the website kindle.com so that you can spend time understand about this organization which is focusing on most advanced technologies. It could be AI, hybrid cloud, especially for healthcare. It will be helping in major areas. Academicians or even hospitals can benefit from these services, all the managed services that are coming up. And every industry has unique requirement, and every organization which is providing solutions will customize based upon your uh, requirement. So it's just time that we need to spend which technology is good for us. We need to work with analysts and architects so that you design the best solutions. So these are all the verticals which Kindle is trying to focus on. So all six verticals which I mentioned, part of this Industry 4.0 are part of it. And it is supporting not only India, across the globe. So you can see the point of presence. Specifically India, it is highly focused because of our strong team based out of here and highly dense population and the need of the our post pandemic entire India. If you see the number of branches, around 30K among these 90,000, 30K experts are based out of completely in Asia, primarily Bangalore, Hyderabad, Chennai, Noida, Gurgaon, Pune, and slowly it is opening up a center in Kochi. So IBM and Kindle, I'm not committing that thing, but Kochi in Kerala is another location will come up in near future with fully functional. But overall, as I mentioned, India is the hub for technology and it will continue. It is the Silicon Valley of our entire Asia, and it will take lead in supporting the entire healthcare domain. So when you approach Kindle, you get all suite of solutions, one single hub for every solution for your business need. So these are all the things which are coming up. So try to leverage. As I mentioned, since you are students, faculty, and medical practitioners, try to connect with the people like me who are ambassadors so that we can give basic consulting and give you some help in terms of upskilling areas. Once you as a medical practitioner or a student or a nurse or a pharmacist start learning the basic concepts of technology, you will start teaching which technology is good and which is good for you. So with this, I conclude and thank you all the team. I wish you all the best for all the viewers for paying attention to detail for my presentation. And thank you once again.